In my teenage years, I seemed to be drawn to what I would call the creative world now, which I didn't know the name of it then. I liked music. I was the only kid in my neighborhood who could play the harmonica. If I had my harmonica, I'd play your tune. I can still play it. I don't know who taught me how to play the harmonica, but I was the only guy around who had a harmonica and played it. And then one day I was reading a magazine, and there was an advertisement. And if you sold the advertisement, whatever it was, you won a prize. And the prize was a camera. So this little camera came into my life. I was a teenager then, maybe about 14 years old. So I just started playing with this little camera, taking pictures of my neighbors. And in 1944, I had an opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. And I took my camera with me. That was a turning point because I took pictures on that trip to Washington, D.C. and New York. I go back to that moment because when I returned to my class, it was the summer of 44, I shared those photographs with my class. And they were so impressed. They said, "We need a class president. Would you be our class president?" I said, "Yeah, of course." So there was some payoff coming back to me in my involvement with the camera and the results of that. And something kept telling me, "David Johnson, this is going to be your passion." First of all, I didn't know Ansel Adams. I didn't know Minor White. And I happened to be in San Francisco a short time during World War II when I was on my way to the Philippine Islands. I just love that city. It's something about this place that just, I want to stay here forever. I'm going to die here. So when the opportunity came, I was discharged from the Navy, came back through San Francisco, went to Jacksonville, and read an article about Ansel Adams opening the Department of Photography at the California School of Fine Arts. Mind you, I didn't know Ansel. I didn't know his standing in the world of photography. I didn't know Minor White. But my interest in photography prompted me to write to Ansel Adams. So, "Dear Mr. Adams, I saw an ad in a photo magazine about a photography school in San Francisco. I would like to apply. And by the way, I'm black." I usually say Negro. That was those days when you were proud to be a Negro. We don't hear that much anymore. I'm still proud to be a Negro. So Ansel wrote me right back. He said, "An opening's in the class. However, if someone should drop out, we'll consider your application." Now, the somebody were many, many GIs who were returning from World War II, who had the GI Bill. And that was one of the successes of the Department of Photography at the California School of Fine Arts. It's now called the San Francisco Art Institute. Okay? So with that response, positive from Ansel Adams, which had a footnote, "By the way, if you accept this opportunity to come to my school," he didn't use opportunity, that's what it was. "And should you need a place to live, I have a house that you may live in." This is tremendous because he didn't know me from Adam, playing the word of Adam. I didn't know him from Adam, but I knew I wanted to come back to San Francisco and lead the South. I just wasn't comfortable after World War II sitting on the back of the bus, not being able to vote and living in segregated communities. I didn't go to war to fight and come back to this nonsense. And I don't have to stay here. This is my passport. She didn't pay much attention to it. In fact, becoming a photographer or playing music in the house, she says, "Get that noise out of here, I don't want to be disturbed." She didn't have an appreciation because I attribute that to she was basically an uneducated woman, academically, but a wonderful human being. But her life had never exposed her to the whole idea of picture taking, that's a profession and some people do that and learn to do it. So she was not very much influence on me in that respect. Her basic influence for me was looking at her life and saying, "I will learn to read, I will go to school, I will get an education, and my life will be different." She made a tremendous contribution to me by saying, "This is who I am, this is what I am." And what was interesting, just to build on that slightly, black people at that time in Florida, many parts of the South, who could not read and write, and when you had to sign a document, the reference was, put your nigger sign here. You know what a nigger sign is? An X. Many times when she had to do that X, I said, something's wrong with this picture. Nobody will ever ask me to do that. I'll be able to sign my name. And I had no idea that I would end up going to school, becoming a photographer, getting a college degree, an AA degree, a bachelor's degree, and even a master's degree. Well, let me go back to how I was feeling about myself early in my teenagers. It seemed that in my high school, all the guys got girls except me. So, what's going on here? And it was one guy. He's still around. His name is Floyd McKissick. He will see this movie one day, and I'll mention, Clark Floyd had all the girls and all the women. So what's up with me? I was kind of shy, and I was not socially in tune. So that was kind of a challenge, which thankfully I succumbed to. I dealt with that as I grew up in San Francisco. It was just a great place for me to grow in that city. Because now I'm a photographer, I'm going to be meeting people. I'll meet everybody. In particular, I'll meet a lot of ladies, So socially, I can handle it. And I judge that by, I learned to be a good extemporaneous speaker. I could just stand up before a crowd, and if they're talking about fleas on the dog, I can find a little speech about that. The Boy in Lincoln was shot in San Francisco, probably 1963 or 63, let's go with 63. And there were people from all over the United States there, because San Francisco is kind of a landmark. Something really interesting going on, it tends to happen there, particularly something like the Civil Rights Movement. There were people there from all over the country. And as it turned out, I happened to be there with my camera. I was covering it as solo. It was not on assignment, but my energy and my interest in the Civil Rights Movement led me there. And it ended up that I took some really fantastic photographs there. So I'm wandering around the square, just looking, kind of surveying the crowd. And I walked over to this statue of Lincoln. It is the only statue, right now, west of the Mississippi. Sometimes it's the east, but I'm going to get it right this time, west of the Mississippi. And there is this little boy sitting on the statue in the lap of Lincoln. I said, wow, this looks great. The light was right. It was not a hot, sunshiny day with heavy shadows. In San Francisco, the weather frequently is foggy, and what we as photographers call that open shadow, harsh shadows and such. So I just walked out, pointed my camera, and there's this kid sitting there in Lincoln, with the flag unfurled, not looking directly at me. He didn't even know I was there. And after I took the shot and looked at it, I noticed that there were other people on that pedestal. Luckily for me, they were out of vision. They were not in view. So my photograph was just unobstructed. The light was right. The moment was right. And I got it. One exposure. Walked away. My name is David Johnson, and this is a Rhythm Film presentation.